Okay, so hi and welcome to Geeks for Geeks. Today is the day 15 of Code Habit, and today we would be doing some more DP. So, the past mentors, when I started off, I did this, and now some other people like Devashish, Gaurav, and some other mentors are also continuing this. So, if you don't know what is this all about, this is all about making you habituated with the coding, where you would be coding continuously for the next 21 days. And then after 21 days, just to keep up with the habit, you can start giving contest or you can solve more if you're not well confident enough. So can I have a quick one in the chat if you are attending, so that I just need know the names itself? So hi Pawan, how are you? So just let me know if the audio is not clear. I would make sure that the audio is clear. So let me just start a new note, and this looks fine. And create templates. So let's have a dark template. Mhm. This looks good, and this is good. Okay. अब बहुत दिनों बाद आए. थैंक यू सो मच पवन. ओके, सो हाय आरुषि. आज फिर से मजा आएगा कोडिंग करने में. हंसी बात है. कोडिंग करने में मजा आता है या मेरी बातें सुनने में? Many people tell me that instead of coding, we love to listen your talks. चलो, देखते हैं कि क्या होता है. So the very first problem we would be doing up is count the number of hops. Okay, and then the very next one is edit distance. Now before we move forward, let me just tell you some things. So if you are a person who has started off with dynamic programming, consider first coding the recursive solution, then memoizing it, and then writing the tabulation approach. And day by day, when you gain confidence, you can directly start off with the tabulation. Not again, you can just skip out the recursive and the memorization part, because the chances of MLE error gets reduced a lot if you use. So you can just see the problem quickly. I would just share the screen itself. Okay. और बाकी सब बढ़िया सबका. Okay, just quickly give it a read. The number of people are absolutely less, so it should take a little bit of less time to read and say. Okay, so I would be waiting for the next 1 minute. So I would be just explaining the thing in general. So basically, this is a variation, or I can say this problem is inspired from AdCoder DP contest. Where what is this all about? AdCoder DP contest is considered to be a very good resource for a person who is learning dynamic programming. Okay, but at this point you shouldn't consider solving all the problems, just consider solving the first 4 5 problems. And if you are done with these all problems, okay, because these all problems have an explanation out there in the internet, so if you are stuck up, you would know how to write DP and other stuff. So this question is basically the frog can jump one step, like one step at a time, two step at a time, three step at a time. So a real life scenario would be this, कि जब हम लोग याद है, जब हम लोग बचपन में रहते थे, तो होता ही था कि पापा एक एक स्टेप जाते थे, और हम लोग, क्योंकि यंग ब्लड था हमारा, और हम लोग ऐसे फुदक फुदक के एक 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 स्टेयर केस और या दो स्टेयर केस हम लोग स्किप करने लगते हैं. Okay, still many people in adulthood also, when they are in a jolly mood, they still do it, like I personally do it. What I'm trying to say is, I would just translate the same thing in Hindi. Just like in our good old days of childhood, we used to skip the stairs. Okay, like our father used to accompany us, and our father was taking one step at a time, and we started skipping step. Okay, and we got happy that I'm able to overtake my father. I don't know how many of you have done this, but I did this a lot, and I have seen many people do it. Okay, so this is all about, let's say the one jump is like your father, the two jump thing is like your sister, and the three jump thing is like, let's say, your small sister. Okay, because she is much smaller and she likes to be fuzzing around everything. Okay, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now let's start this part of okay, पहला टेस्ट केस क्या है? पहला टेस्ट केस n is equals to 4 and the value is 7. Okay, let's just see. N is equals to 4 and the value is 7 itself. So now see, first n is equals to 7. So from 7, if I take one step, okay, so let's say this is one step, this is two step, this is three step. Okay, now let me just change the color. This is by taking one step, this is by taking three step, two step, and this is by taking third step. So we are told that हम लोग starting point पे किसी भी तरीके का distance ले सकते हैं. So if I take one step, the value remaining would be 6. Let me just change the color. This would be more appealing. Okay, so let's say if I take one step, अगर मैं एक सीढ़ी कूदूंगा तो मेरे पास left over सीढ़ी कितने रहेंगे? 6 रहेंगे. If I take two steps at a time, the leftover value is 5. If I take three steps, the leftover value is 4. Now, from each point, I can start making decisions one more time. Okay, so what I can do is I can again take a step of 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now the values can be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. पीटी टीचर जैसा लग रहा है. चलो, so if I take one step again, it would be again 5, it would be again 4, it would be again 3. If I take one step, this would be 4. अगर मैं 5 में से 2 पार कर लिया मैंने, so it would be 3. 5 में से 3 पार कर लिया, तो it would be 2. 4 में से 1 पार कर लिया, so it would be 3. And 4 में 2 पार कर लिया, it would be 2. 4 में 3 पार कर लिया, the remaining value would be 1. Okay, fair enough. Now let's take the last, not last. Okay, so see, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if I take one step again, it would be again 4. Okay, let me just change the color. This would be 4, this would be 3, this would be 2, this would be 1, this would be 3 again, this would be 2 again, and this would be 4 minus 3 is equals to 1. Now take a screenshot of this and then you can just do it on your own. I would be doing it for n is equals to 4 because otherwise the value would be very, like the recursion tree would be very messy. So हम लोग 4 से start करते हैं. I can take one step, two step, three step. Now let's see this. So 1, 2, and 3. If I take one step, कितने values रहेंगे? 3 रहेंगे. If I take two step, the value remaining would be 2. If I take 4, the value remaining would be 1. Now the values again we can take 3 step at a time. Okay, fair enough. And then we have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, अब क्या आएगा? So if we remove 1 from 3, the value would be 2, the value would be 1. 3 में से 3 गया, the value would be 0. 2 में से 1 गया, the value would be 1. 2 में से 2 गया, the value would be 0. So just let me see if I'm visible or not. एक बार के लिए देख लेते हैं. Okay, so I'm visible. चलो देखते हैं. So value from 2, the value. So if I just have 2 steps remaining, okay, अगर मेरे पास सामने 2 ही सीढ़ी है, तो मैं 3 जंप कर सकता हूँ? दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल. सो आई वुड जस्ट डू इट विद अ रेड कलर दैट दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल. भैया ये तो पॉसिबल ही नहीं है, अपने रीच में ही नहीं है. Okay, so next we have the value 1 from 1, the value would be 0. If I want, like, there is only one step remaining, so we can't really take a step of this and this. Okay, we can't really do that. Now from here, from 2 I can take one step, I can take two step. From 1 I can take only one step, from 1 I can take only one step. Okay, so अब क्या हुआ, 1 2 में से 1 गया, again it would be 1. 2 में से 2 गया, the value would be 0. 1 minus 1 is equals to 0, and 1 minus 1 is again equals to 0. Now we can again take a step of this and we can just have it 0. So अब how many values of 0 are we able to attain? We are able to attain 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So we are able to attain 7 ways, like मैं 7 तरीके से उस सीढ़ी को खत्म कर सकता हूँ और मैं एकदम पॉइंट पे ही आऊंगा. दिस इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड, लाइक से देयर इज ओनली वन स्टेप रिमेनिंग एंड मैं कूद के एकदम घर के दरवाजे पे कूद गया. दिस इज नॉट द सिनेरियो दैट लेट्स से ओनली वन स्टेप इज रिमेनिंग एंड आई जंप, आई टेक अ 3 स्टेप जंप and I just bang into the door. Okay, like I don't know how many of you have seen, but CID में Daya used to do this. Okay, fair enough. So classical series है. I don't know, only people, I don't know how many of you will relate this, but इतना ही कर सकते हैं. जितना है हमारे पास, जितना अवेलेबिलिटी है, हम लोग उतना का ही स्टेप ले सकते हैं. This is all about this. So what we can do is, this would be the kind of tree that we would be doing this. Now give me a quick 0 or 1 in the chat, and let me just see. Just give me a quick 1 in the chat. Yep, n is equals to 4. There are 7 ways to reach that value. Okay, this was the test case. Now let me just check. Can you quickly like the video, please? Okay, Pratik Gole, I'm done. Okay, what about Arushi and all? Arushi, then Pavan Kumar, then Pratik and all are the people who are there for very initial period of time, like they joined the class in the very initial period and they are still continuing it. That's great, to be honest. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so this is how we can take a jump. Okay, so now let's see this again. Okay, so we have this kind of structure. So अब what we can do. So ऐसा तरीके का structure है हमारे पास. So this looks like what? This looks like a recursion tree. Okay, this basically is something known as okay, this is drawing out the recursion tree. And how I come to the conclusion that ऐसा tree का structure ही चाहिए, if you are not familiar, कि ऐसा सिद्धार्थ ने डायरेक्टली ऐसे tree क्यों बनाया, इसे सोच मतलब सॉल्व करने का कुछ तरीका क्यों नहीं ढूंढा? Why didn't he try to find an algorithm which would solve this? Basically, we from if we stand at a particular position, we have 3 paths, and then from that 3 path we have again 3 paths. It is just like the scenario, like वो greedy hatch वाला story सुना आपने? Okay, let me just see if I'm visible or not still. ओके, फेयर इनफ. सो वो ग्रीडी हैचर वाला स्टोरी सुना है कि उसके पास एक अंडा आता है, एनीथिंग दैट ये अंडा से एक मुर्गी निकलेगा एंड वो मुर्गी 2 अंडे देंगे, 2 अंडे और बढ़ेंगे. ओके, सो बेसिकली दिस इज काइंड ऑफ द सेम सिनेरियो. फ्रॉम 4 वी कैन डेविएट टू 3 पाथ, दैट इज 1 2 3. अब वो जो बचता है वैल्यू, दैट कैन अगेन टेक 3 पाथ. that can again do 3 path. So basically we need to explore all possible ways. Okay, हमारे पास कोई और ऑप्शन नहीं है. We need to explore all possible ways and we need to return the valid ones. What do you mean by valid ones? Because हमें एकदम on point रुकना है, हमें दया नहीं बनना है, हमें दरवाजा नहीं तोड़ना है. This is like I just translating the same in Hindi because I didn't repeat that in Hindi. So that greedy hatcher one, the person takes up an egg, he keeps it in his pocket, and he thinks that it would be warm inside the pocket, and then that egg would be a hen the next day, and that hen would produce two egg, and that two egg would again be that thing. Just like the cell reproduction. Okay, like one cell would give birth to two cell would give birth to again four cell would give birth to again eight cell, if each cell is producing two cell at a time. Okay, so if we have this kind of thing in our mind, the very first thing that you should think of is nothing else than recursion. अब हमारे पास एक recursion tree आ गया. Okay, so from each point we are getting three branches. Okay, in the worst scenario, इससे ज्यादा हो ही नहीं सकता. थ्री, वी डोंट हैव मोर देन थ्री ऑप्शंस. हमारे पास थ्री ऑप्शंस रहेंगे, थ्री ऑप्शन से कम नहीं रहेंगे. Neither it would be more than three options. Three options से कम रह सकता है. Like let's say the value is 2, so we have the option to just take one step or two step, but we don't have the liberty to take the third step. Okay, so हमारे पास options है, एक का है, दो का है, बट तीन का नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारे पास सीढ़ी ही तो दो है ना. तो हमारे पास ऐसा सिनेरियो आ रहा है कि कुछ सोचना पड़ेगा. Okay, so from each point we are generating 3. Okay, so the time complexity would be exponential for sure, because पहले पे 1 था, फिर 3 है, फिर 9 है, okay, फिर 27 है, ऐसे करके जा रहा है. So ऐसा तो कुछ हो रहा है. So time complexity does not permit us. Why? Because the expected time complexity is how much? The expected time complexity is big of n, but हम लोग तो exponential कुछ सोच रहे हैं. Okay, hi Valentine. Like I don't really know how to spell your last name. Sorry about that, man. I'm extremely sorry. Okay, fair enough. So up we need to do something more. So we need to optimize this recursive solution. So the optimization of recursion is nothing but dynamic programming. So now we come to the conclusion that dynamic programming is required. But what kind of dynamic programming is required? अभी के लिए dynamic programming मत सोचो, अभी के लिए सिर्फ recursion सोचो. Okay, recursion का पहला चीज क्या होता है? Recursion का very first thing is the base case. Okay, recursion पे सबसे पहला चीज होता है base case. So base case can be found out from the branches. Okay, so if the value becomes 1, then we need to add 1 to the answer. So if the value is 0, we need to return 1 to the answer, because अगर 0 बन गया, that means somehow by taking some branches we are at the starting point or finishing point. एकदम on dot finishing point पे रुका हूँ, ना less ना more, और यही हमें चाहिए. The number of ways to travel this. Now the very next thing is, if we have just only one, okay, we have just one, then we can do it accordingly. अगर दो है तो दो का वैल्यू भी हम लोग बना सकते हैं. So if the value is 2, we can take 1 and then again 1 and then we can take 1. Okay, so हमारे पास if the value is 2, so we have two options. If the value is 1, we have just one option. Okay, now अब the very next thing is the recursive case. Recursive case कैसे ढूंढना है? Just analyze the branches that are coming out from a node. Okay, so analyze the branches that are coming out from the node. Okay, so from a particular node, the value would just decrease by 1, 2, and 3. So what we can do is the recursive case can be n minus 1, n minus 2, and n minus 3. Okay, these are the recursive case. ये recursive case हो गया, ये base case हो गया. अब we can go back to this coding the recursive solution, and then we can think of कि DP क्या है, what is this DP all about. Okay, चलो चलते हैं. Now let us just code the recursive solution. So am I clear with the recursive solution? Give me a quick one. ये देख लेता हूँ. Just give me a quick one if this thing is not clear. Give me a 0 if this thing is like समझ में नहीं आ रहा तो 0 दे दो, समझ में आ रहा तो 1 दे दो. If you are able to understand, give me a 1 so that I can move forward. If you are not able to understand, give me a 0. I would be more than happy to explain again. Okay. अरे सर मत बुलाओ यार, इतना बूढ़ा भी नहीं हूँ. Okay. DP is my favorite topic. मजा भी आता DP करने में. Yep, so nothing is hard, to be honest. Okay, like the scenario is same, something like riding a bike. Okay, so let's say if you are going on a straight road which is very simple to ride, then it is not fun. But why is the places like Ladakh bike ride is why famous? Because it contains some hurdles. So hurdles में मजा तो आता है, थोड़ा सा मजे लो. Okay, it's more fun to learn when you have a greater interest. I'm quite inspired. Impressed young man. Thank you so much, man. Okay, चलो. अरे सेठ बुलाओ, भैया बुलाओ, सब बढ़िया. Okay, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. For everyone, this is clear. Now let's just code the recursive solution. Just तब तक चार्ज पे लगा देता हूँ इसे. So what is the feedback up till this point? Because you are the people who were able to hold this thing for this long. So just want to know कि आपको फायदा हुआ, concrete बताना. Like I know many people who just entered due to this. So आप बताना कि ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है. Stop sharing. चलो देखता हूँ. Okay. So, what are the small things we would do? I don't want to write long. See, बार long लिखने से implementation time कम होता है. Let's say I thought of a solution and then I need to implement it. Okay, and this is what? This is an online assessment. Online assessment में क्या होता है? Let's say I coded the solution, you also coded the same solution. But if I'm submitting enough, like before you, I would be getting more points. Okay, this is how the rank lists are made. Okay, आपको finishing भी जल्दी करनी है. So what you can do is, instead of writing long again and again, what I would do is, I want you to learn at this point. Okay, इस point पे आप लोग ये tips and tricks use करना start करो. I would just write LL and I would define as long. What is this all about? होता ये है कि जहाँ जहाँ पे भी LL है, okay, compilation के time all LL would be replaced with long. This is just the meaning of this. Okay, now we need to do, okay, I would do it later. Okay, now let's start the coding part. Okay, अब long कर दो. Okay, इसे कहते हैं wrapper function. Why wrapper function? Because यहाँ से I would call that. Okay, I can do that in this also, but I'm just building up a wrapper function. Okay, it is not important, but you should know these all terms. Okay, and then you would say, if we come down to the finishing point, that means ये answer पे count होगा. Okay, so I would say if n is equals to 0, I would say return 1 from this point. Okay, and then I would say if n is equals to 1, that means एक ही सीढ़ी है, तो हमारे पास ज्यादा ऑप्शन है नहीं, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. एक ही सीढ़ी है, एक ही जंप ले सकते हैं, so I would return 1. So let's make this. Okay, I would return 1. Now I would just copy the same thing to teach you the importance of copy pasting. नहीं यार, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, मुझे कम थ्योरी का आदत है. Okay, n is equals to 2. So अब जैसे 2 है, so I can take a jump of 2, I can take a jump of 1 plus 1. So I know these are small cases. I don't want processing for these are small cases. Okay, now we would say long answer is equals to the summation of all the 3 branches. ऐसा ही होगा ना? So we would say solve, या फिर rec लिख देते हैं यार. Why solve? Rec. Okay, rec of n minus 1 I can take one step, I can take two step, rec of n minus 2, okay, plus rec of n minus 3, okay, and this is the, and we would return it as the answer itself. And now let us just call this, okay, so return rec of n, okay, return rec of n. This is done. Okay, so now tell me if this small code is clear to you or not. We are learning DP, but up till now we have just coded the ओके ब्रदर, एक तो मेरी रूटीन बनी क्योंकि कुछ टाइम से कोडिंग नहीं कर पा रहा था कंटिन्यू ऐसा. ओके ओके ग्रेट मैन, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू see this. Okay, it means a lot, Pratik Goa. Okay, like, yeah, you took efforts, but it means a lot when you see at this point also I am also taking some efforts. Okay, so ऐसा अच्छा लगता है कि I am taking some efforts, you are also taking some efforts, and we both are growing. Okay, I'm also learning the discipline of working in weekends, and you are also learning the importance of hustling in weekends. Great man. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, fair enough. इतना तक हो गया. And now, see, हमें we need to optimize this. Okay, so optimizing this is very easy. Okay, you have learned about this, but still I would just say you that recursion को optimize करना. Okay, so let us first understand why do we do this. I don't really know if you have been explained this or not, but still I would just explain you again. Okay, so अगर आप इस चीज को देखोगे, okay, देखता हूँ. See, if you watch this thing, then you would see a different scenario. Okay, the scenario is, let's take, yep, see, I'm calculating here the value for 2. Here I'm calculating the value for 2. Here also I'm calculating the value for 2. Okay, and any other places where I'm calculating the value of 2? No, not yet. And here I'm calculating the value. Let's take a very different color. कलर चूज करते कितने टाइम लग जाता है. ये 1, यहाँ पे भी 1 है, यहाँ पे भी 1 है, यहाँ पे भी 1 है. Okay, and here also we are processing 3. Okay, so if the tree is more, that is why I drew 7. If the tree is more, we would be processing the same thing again. If you observe, we are calculating 4 here, we are calculating 4 here again. Okay, let's do that the next thing in red. So see, 3 here it is getting calculated, 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 here it is getting calculated. So let's take the scenario. Okay, so just this scenario would be very good scenario. Okay, this scenario ko yaad rakhna. Okay, so let's say I found a girl interesting. Okay, let's say I'm still in my college days. I found a girl interesting in my class. Okay, and then I tried to explore that girl. Okay, I made friendship with that girl, and then now we found out that we are very opposite to each other. Okay, like our vibes really don't match. Okay, like she is a hater of non-veg, like non-veg, and I just love non-veg. Okay, I'm a gamer person and she just hates gaming. I'm not a movie person. She's a very freaking about, like, she freaks about movies, okay, a lot. So our vibe didn't match. So I just traced back and started on my own. Okay. So now I know that this girl doesn't have the vibe of me. Okay, our vibes don't really match. Okay, so I need to remember it so that I don't repeat the same mistake. I shouldn't again try to explore her. Okay, because I already should know that she doesn't hold the vibe at mine. But if you observe here, this recursion is kind of this kind of person who goes back to the same girl in spite of एक्सप्लोरिंग लाइक ये 3 एक्सप्लोर कर चुका था फिर भी वो 3 कैलकुलेट किया, ये 3 एक्सप्लोर कर चुका था फिर भी वो कैलकुलेट किया, यहाँ पे भी यहाँ पे भी यहाँ पे भी। सो काफी नूब है। ओके काफी नूब है ये। ओके यहाँ पे भी 4 एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं, अगेन यहाँ पे 4 एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे भी 4 एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे भी 4 एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं। देख रहे हो, वी आर एक्सप्लोरिंग द सेम थिंग अगेन एंड अगेन। तो ये सिनेरियो याद रखना। ओके जब भी ऐसा हो, एंड दिस इज in programming terms. Now, remember this example so that you would be able to retain it for a longer period of time. But you should know this term, that this thing is known as overlapping subproblem. Okay, overlapping subproblem. Okay, ये याद रखना. Okay, if suppose you are given a DP problem and you are able to show that a same thing is getting calculated again, so it is observed that it is overlapping some problem, then you are applying DP, bhai sahab, you would get selected for sure. Okay, so try to be very good at this. Okay, ये वाली चीज थोड़ी सी सीख लो आप. Try to learn the like art of explanation also, because at the end you need to explain to your interviewer your approach also, like why did you really use DP. ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए कि you have just memorized all the solution, आपको पता है कि this problem is of DP. Okay, you should give proper reasons for it. Okay, थोड़ा सीख लेना. So this is what you need to remember. But in the back end of your mind where you are processing this data, remember the example of that boyfriend girlfriend, like Siddharth has already explored some girl. Okay, yeah, that one funny example, this would help you a lot. Okay, so at this point we come to the conclusion that I need to remember something. Okay, because recursion काफी repetitive task कर रहा है. Okay, so what I can do is, if I'm not able to remember something, अगर मुझे पता है कि मुझे पानी भरना है बट मैं भूल जा रहा हूँ, तो what I would do, I would write somewhere that fill water. So in the same manner, we would write somewhere in something like memo pad or something. So in the same manner, we can save the result in a variable or an array, or variables like array, collection of variables arrays, and then we can access it from there. हम लोग ऐसा ही कर सकते हैं. So let's do the same thing. Okay, just tell me if this thing is clear to you or not. Overlapping subproblem, what is this basically? Overlapping subproblem क्या होता है, इसका मतलब क्यों बोलते हैं लोग कि overlapping subproblem मतलब ही DP होता है? Just give me a quick one कि ये clear हो चुका है या नहीं. Just give me a quick one. Consistency is a new flex after attending this CodeCamp. होता है. Done? विकास श्रीवास्तव, पवन, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Okay, so what we can really do is we can save the result in an array of n plus 1. So at this point what we would do is we would say देखो भैया long रखने हैं. Okay, so I would make a vector of long. Okay, name it as memo. Okay, name it as memo. Okay, memo. Okay, memo ही रखते हैं, and size n plus 1 दे दिया, because so that value n can also be processed. And then I would initialize everything with -1. Why -1? Because -1 ऐसा वैल्यू है जो हमें बताएगा कि आंसर कैलकुलेटेड नहीं है. अगर मेमो पेज खाली है, इसका मतलब मुझे कुछ काम नहीं करना. Okay, suppose I see the memo pad and I don't see anything, that means I don't need to do anything. In the same manner, I'm initializing everything with -1. This just tells us that this value is not initialized. Okay, otherwise we would have some garbage value where we won't be able to access. Like if we initialize array, okay, in the local space, global space मतलब यहाँ पे, local space मतलब function के अंदर. Okay, so if we initialize anything inside the global local space, that value gets initialized to the garbage value. So to make sure we don't really concern about garbage value, we initialize everything with -1. Okay, अब क्या करना है मैं बताता हूँ ना. Just give this the access. So vector of long and pass by reference. Okay, what do you mean by pass by reference? Like learn about pass by value and pass by reference. It would help you a lot. So before calculation, okay, directly calculations of I saw a girl. Now before exploring, I would just see my memo file if I've already explored that girl or not. Okay, so what I would do is if dp of n is not equal to -1, okay, return dp of n itself. Okay, and after processing, suppose I have explored that girl, she is not of my same byte, so I would write it in a memo pad. So before moving forward, I would see if that value dp of n is equal to answer. हो गया भैया, this is done. Now just compile and run and see how many errors are we making. We would be making errors because we are not passing the dp thing. And then still we would be guessing errors because we have one more thing to handle. And here also dp thing needs to be passed. Now let us just compile and run and see how many errors are we making. Oops, this is memo. Sorry, actually, we have an habit of calling this as DP. Cool लगता है. You can also just write it as DP. Many people do it. Now, if you just submit this, you would get a wrong answer because the answer can be very large. So we need to return modulo 10 to the power 9 plus 7. So I have already taught you that a plus b whole modulo is a modulo m plus b modulo m and then whole modulo m. So ऐसा ही कुछ करना पड़ेगा हमें, ऐसा ही कुछ करना पड़ेगा ना. So we would enclose this and then we would say modulo mod. Okay, modulo m. Now, अब modulo m कहाँ से लाए? Do we need to write 10 to the power 9 plus 7 again and again? No, absolutely no. Define capital M 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and then 10 to the power 9 plus 7. Okay. And then इसको कॉपी करो and पेस्ट करते जाओ. Okay, and then we would have this also enclosed and then this. Okay. Now let us just compile and see how many errors are we making. Okay. Okay. So I would just copy this solution of myself, share the tab instead. Count the number of hops. Again. Share with you the solution that I have written. बताओ. Is this thing clear? Can I have a quick yes or no in the chat? Just give me a quick one if this thing is clear so that I can move forward to the next problem. And the next problem is a little bit different from this. Please discuss time complexity. Okay. Okay. प्लीज मत बोलो, दैट इज माई जॉब बेसिकली. बट मैं बताता हूँ ना टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी. सो सी, here we are making an array of n plus 1, and we are just using variables other than array. So the time complexity would be big O of n plus 1, but constants are ignored, so it would be big O of n. It is what? Space complexity. Okay, big O of n would be the space complexity. Now let's discuss the time complexity. Okay, so each value would be calculated just once. Okay, we won't calculate the same value again. So if for one element we are processing three back elements, okay, like what we are basically doing. Okay, let's say we are standing at 7. Okay, so if we are standing at 7, then only we need the value, like let's say n is equals to 7. Let's say n is equals to 7. So this if statement won't work, this if statement won't work, this if statement won't work, and this statement, let's say 7 is not calculated. So we would only ask the value of n minus 1, that is 6. Okay, this is what? This is basically we would require the value of 6. N minus 2 would be what? We require the value of 5, and we require the value of 7 minus 3 is equals to 4. So for calculating the value of 7, we require the value of 6, 5 and 4. And what we are doing? We are adding. Arithmetic operation take constant time. Okay, so एक value calculate करने के लिए we are just taking three values, summing that up, and then we are processing it. So that for one value we are doing three operations. Okay, so for calculating one value we are doing three operations. So for calculating n values, if we multiply n on both sides, it would be 3 multiplied by n. Okay, so the time complexity would be n because constants are ignored. So it is nothing other than big O of n. Okay, is this thing clear? Give me a quick 0 or 1 in the chat. Space for recurrent stack is not considered in big O of n. Okay, recursion stack wali cheese is not considered. This is चलो ये बढ़िया था गुरु. Okay, चलो let's move on to the next problem. Read this problem. We have a dark mode. Let's just see the dedicated. Let's just see the dedicated dark mode, and this is not looking fine. Mine one is better. Yeah, this is better for me. Okay. Vector is used to previously this row. Yep. Can be further optimized for constant space. Yes, it can be further optimized. I'm just explaining you the most basic approach because I want you to get habitual. What is DP? What is this all about? So if you are done, just after reading the problem, if you're done reading the problem, give me a quick one in the chat. Okay, thanks a lot, Arushi Tomar. चलो। हम्म। Okay, so we have the name as GEEK. One operation is required of inserting S between two keys. Find return the minimum number of operation. Okay, let me just show you what this is all about. GEEK, GESEK. So insert, remove and replace. चलो देखते हैं GESEK and GEEK. Okay, so see GEEK and GESEK. Okay, so now the very first option क्या कर सकते हैं? We have, like, we would start from the back. Okay, पीछे से start करते हैं. So what we are allowed to do, we just need to convert either of the string to each other. Okay, like we need to make both the strings same. This is, let's say, S, and this is, let's say, S1, and this is, let's say, S2. Our final agenda is to make S1 equal to S2. Okay, like let's say if we have, like, this is a very good example. Let's say if we have something like Siddharth, this is okay, and this is something like this, Siddhu. These are the names. Like this were, like people from my school call me Siddhu, people in corporate call me Sid, and some people do also call me Siddharth. Okay, like very less people call me Siddharth. Okay, okay, so what we can do is, अगर आप ध्यान से देखोगे, so if I Siddhu is there, so I need to remember this, remove this U, and I need to add ARTHA to make this as Siddharth. Okay, to convert Siddharth to Sid, I need to remove this all values. So this is how two strings can be made to each other. By what? By insertion, by insertion, by replacement. Okay, replace. U is replaced by A. Insertion, replacement, and what? Deletion. This is deletion only. Like, let me just see. Delete only. Remove. Yep. Remove. Okay, and this is something like remove. So these are the three options we can have. Either, okay, either हम कुछ और मसाला ऐड कर सकते हैं, either पुराने मसाले को रिमूव कर सकते हैं, और either हम मसाले को ही रिप्लेस कर सकते हैं. Okay, like there are three options you can have: either to add the masala, either to change the masala, or either to eat without masala. Okay, these are the three options we can have. So ऐसा ही है कुछ हमारी कहानी रेसिपी की. Okay, so now let's think of how to solve up this problem. So now, if you see, we need to make both the strings similar, and we have k, like iska bhi last character k hai, iska bhi last character k hai. So what we can think of is, see, k is equal, so take k out. Okay, take this k out, and you just process it for the rest of the string. Okay, like k को हम लोग ignore कर सकते हैं because last में k add हो जाएगा. Now what we are we getting at this point? If we remove this value of k, we would be getting G E E, and then we would be getting GESE. Okay, now again we have the last character similar, so again we can remove this. Okay, ई को रिमूव कर दो, मतलब ई का चिंता छोड़ो, ई हमारा सब कुछ सही है. वी नीड टू रिमूव the panic thing about E, because E is good enough. It is the same thing as the next string. So I can just take care of E and you do it for the rest. Like, let's say you are cleaning up the room. Okay. So what you do is, like, let's say you told your roommate, see, I'm brooming up the floor and you take care of the rest of the item. Okay, so in the same manner, I'm taking out k because both the values are k, so it is good enough. I'm just taking out k and saying, kindly process the rest of the string, k is equal. Again we have e, we can take out this e. भैया देखो e अपनी जगह पे सही है, अब बाकी का देखना. Okay, so अब बाकी के लिए बात करो. Okay, so now if we take care e also, then we would be left something like ge and ges. At this point we don't really have this options. Okay, so now अब हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं? We have three options. The very first one is insert, replace and delete. So if we insert this s to make both equal, okay, so that would be ge and this would be ge. Okay, and we have used one operation. So यहाँ पे एक ऑपरेशन यूज हो गया, इस वाले पे एक ऑपरेशन यूज हो गया. If we remove this s, then it would be again ge and ge, and again यहाँ पर भी एक ऑपरेशन यूज हो गया. If we replace this value, okay, so replacement is not really an option. Okay, we really can't replace it. Let's say we just made this e as s itself. Okay, so it would be, if we make that as s, so ये s और ये s same हो गया. Okay, okay, so if we make this as s, then this s and s would be same, so they would be removed, so we would be left with g and ge. And here also I have used one option. Okay, ध्यान से देखना. If the last character is same, we take out the last characters and say you do the processing for the rest of the job. Don't care about him. Okay, don't really care about him. I would take care of it. You do it for the rest of it. Now, if you observe that after insertion, we have these things. Okay. Now again after insertion, we can see that this value is same. So now it would be just g and g. After insertion, this two values also same. So we would again have g and g. And these two values are not same. So we would again have a processing. So either we can insert a value, that is ge and ge. And we are adding one e. Either we can replace the value. So this would be, so like this would be replaced with e. So that would be just blank here and this. Okay, so if you can see this thing, okay, this is how we would be getting to the very bottom. And last में जब string खत्म हो जाए, that means everything is processed, and just count the number of mistakes. So what are we basically doing? We are first, if the last character is same, we are taking out the last character and we are saying process the rest of the string, don't care about the last character. Okay, if last character is not same, तभी problem आती है. Okay, the very first one is very simple. Okay, so भैया देखो, हमारा अगर लास्ट कैरेक्टर सेम है, दैट इज s of n minus 1 is equal to s2 of n minus 2, then we would say kindly just move forward. Okay, this would be also 1. Kindly just move forward. So move forward and remove the last character. Okay, if this is not the scenario, like let me, this is, the screen is freezed. Okay, so if S last character is not equal. If the last character is not equal, then what we really need to do is either we can insert a character. Okay, if we insert one character, okay, if we insert one character, then this S is getting removed. But see, we have a replacement for S, but we don't have a replacement for this. So only one string is would be less. So मैं बताता हूँ. Like let's take the scenario. Like कैसे समझ आएगा? Let's say, okay, this person is having a homework of mathematics. This person doesn't have any homework. Like let's say he also have a homework for mathematics. He also have a homework for English. He doesn't have an homework for English. Okay, ये दोनों best friend है. Now friends are very naughty. Okay, they try to like मुझे ऐसे like I need to work hard. He should also work hard. If you are a child, ऐसा होता है ना. So he told to the teacher that see, Siddharth, like let's say my best friend told to the teacher, Siddharth doesn't have an English homework. Kindly provide him with the English homework. So now Siddharth also has an English homework. So the home like now they both are done. But if you observe, Siddharth didn't make any progress. Earlier also he was having one homework. After doing English also he's having one homework. But my best friend made a progress. Earlier he was having two homework and now Siddharth also has two homework. Okay. So progress किसका हुआ? मेरे best friend का. So in the same manner, if we want to insert something, then we would say that S1 would be kept at its same position and S2 would make a progress of n minus 1 because the last value got replaced. मतलब क्या हो रहा है कि last value same हो जा रही है. तो last value same होके किसका फायदा? S2 में, because ऊपर तो insertion हुआ ना. Initial number of characters और बाद का number of characters is still same. Okay, earlier this I had one homework. Even after having English homework and completing it, I'm still at my current scenario only, like previous scenario only. Earlier also I had maths homework. Now also I have maths homework. I just did a little bit of extra work. Let's talk about replacement. Replacement is a very good thing. Why? Because let's say, let's continue the same thing. Let's say I got a science homework and my friend got a I got an English homework, my friend got a science homework. So अब क्या है कि my friend told to the teacher that Siddharth is my friend, he is my roommate, so make both the homework equal. So the teacher made both of us do the science homework. So यहाँ पे दोनों का फायदा हुआ, दोनों का फायदा हुआ. Okay, because replacement हो गई. Okay, earlier also my best friend had two homework, now also he has two homework. Earlier also I had two homework, now also I have two homework. Okay, so we are whenever we are replacing something, whenever we are replacing something, it would be s of n minus 1 and this would also be s of n minus 1. Both would do. Okay, now the very last one is insert, replace and remove. Okay, remove में क्या होगा? Like let's say, be very interesting. Let's say my friend has one more science homework, I don't have it. So now what the teacher did was, my teacher said, okay, as your friend is not having science homework, you can also skip the science homework. ऐसा हो ही सकता है. So now the progress has been made by my best friend. Okay, because उसकी एक homework कम हो गई. Okay, so in the same manner we can say that remove is also one-sided. S1 of n and S2 of n minus 1. Okay, am I clear with insert, replace and remove? Just give me a quick one. Okay, just let me bring some water. बताता हूँ एक second. Okay. Okay. See, let's say my friend. Let's say my friend also has a science homework. Okay. My friend has two homework to do, and okay, insert. Okay. My friend has maths and science homework, and I have just mathematics homework. Now he got jealous that Siddharth needs to work less. He is my friend. How can I leave him alone? Best friends are like that. So he told to the teacher that Siddharth doesn't have a science homework. Teacher found out, yes, Siddharth somehow manipulated other people and he slipped off without having science homework. So what he did was, now the teacher has detected Siddharth, so he has now burdened him with science homework too. My friend is very happy because ab he has gained something out of it. But I am not happy because I need to do two homework now. Now if you can see, by doing this, we have the last two. Okay, we have the last two homeworks same. So we can remove the last two homework. But if you observe, earlier my best friend has two homeworks and I had one homework. So I am at my place only. Like I am still in my one homework, but the workload of my friend has been reduced. Okay, that is why insertion leads to the benefit of the next person, not the first person. Okay, क्या होता क्या है कि दोस्त का ओके दोस्त के पास दो होमवर्क था ओके मैं बताता हूँ प्रॉपर कि इंसर्शन आया ओके एक वैल्यू इंसर्ट हुआ ओके लेट्स से मेरे पास मेरे दोस्त के पास दो होमवर्क था और मेरे पास एक ही होमवर्क था दो होमवर्क आ गए लास्ट दोनों होमवर्क सेम हो गया दिस इज डन बट अगर आप ध्यान से देखोगे तो मुझे कुछ खास फायदा नहीं हुआ मैं पहले भी एक होमवर्क पे था अभी भी एक होमवर्क पे हूँ बट मेरे दोस्त का फायदा हुआ क्योंकि लास्ट होमवर्क मैच कर गया तो वो मेरा देख लिया बट मुझे तो एक एक्स्ट्रा काम करना पड़ा ना दैट इज वाई फायदा जिसका फायदा हो जस्ट टेक द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ फायदा जिसका फायदा हो किसका फायदा हुआ बेस्ट फ्रेंड का सो इट वुड बी n-1 मेरा फायदा नहीं हुआ आई वुड रिमेन एट द सेम पोजिशन इट इज s1 ऑफ n चलो now let's just code this चलो so यहाँ पे भी we would have a wrapper function the return type would be an integer the name would be rec and then we would have n1 and n2 the sizes of both the string and then we would have the string itself string of s1 comma string of s2 okay okay I need to tell you the base cases okay the base cases only the base case detecting the base case from there is a little bit difficult but I would just tell you the intuition of the base case What is base case? Base case is the smallest valid case that can be handled by you. ओके, बेस केस वो छोटा केस होता है जो आप खुद से पेन एंड पेपर में सॉल्व कर पाओ, जिसके लिए कोडिंग नीड नहीं है. ओके, सबसे छोटा केस क्या हो सकता है? व्हेन one string s of 1 is empty and s of 2 has something like Siddharth. Okay, when this type of scenario occurs, then हमारे पास कुछ ज़्यादा करने को है नहीं. Either we can remove all of this, that is, the value would be 3. Okay, the number of strings, the number of values in the next string, or what we can really do is we can add up this 1, 2 and 3. यहाँ पे भी the value would be 3. Why? Because the number addition, insertion and removal both have the same weightage. So if one string is empty, like let's say if n1 is equals to empty, then we would just return the value of n2. Just n2 plus 1 because we would be operating on index. So n2. So just return the value of n2. And this would solve the purpose. Okay? Chalo. Now let me just share the screen itself. Okay. Now see. If n1 is equals to 0, return n2. Now, if n2 is equals to 0, okay, then return n1. Return n1. Okay. So now if the last value is same. So if s1 of n1 minus 1, if the last value of both of them is same, n2 minus 1, अगर last value same है, what we do is, भैया देखो last character का मैं अपना संभाल लूंगा, तुम बाकी का देख लो. This is just like if we have lot things, like let's say my roommate told me to clean the house. So I just broomed everything and told you I'm taking care of the brooming part, and you can do the rest of the things. As Sahi, if I found a similarity, or if I found the last two characters same, I would take care of that and I would say do this rest, like process the rest of the string and just ignore this thing. So what we would do is we would say answer, like let's initialize an answer at this point and answer, and I would say at this point answer is equals to rec of n1 minus 1 comma n2 minus 1. Okay, and then I would say s1 and s2. Okay, why do we really require, like let's make string s1 comma s2 so that we don't really need to pass it again and again. It can be just accessed from the top. And here I would say s is equals to s1, t is equals to s2. Okay, this would make the code a lot cleaner, and this is just a matter of string, so it won't hint the purpose. So I would say this. If the last character is not same, then we have options to do what? Insert, remove and replace. And we need to have the minimum out of that because we have three options again. हमारे पास three options है. तीनों options में जाना है. We need to take out the minimum value. So I would say int removal is equals to rec of rec of rec of n1 comma n2 minus 1. Okay, n2 is benefited. If I just removal, if I just remove the last character, either of it. Okay, removal, insertion, ist, let's say insertion, rec of n1 comma n2 minus 1. So removal, what we did was removal is n comma n minus 1, n comma n minus 1, n minus 1 done. This would be just the opposite. Okay, insertion. Just I'm just seeing that I didn't take this. So insertion क्या होगा? Okay, like we insert a value at the top. Okay, so that is why. Let's do the opposite of this. N1 को नुकसान हुआ. Okay, and this would be N2 minus 1. Now this is clear. Okay, once the first value would get benefited, once the next my best I once I would get benefited if the homework is removed, and once my best friend would get benefited because now I have more burden. Okay, now if the very next thing is replaced, if the homework is replaced, then we both would get benefited because we can cheat from each other. So replace is equals to rec of n1 minus 1 comma n2 minus 1. Okay, and the value would be the minimum of removal, insertion and replace. So answer is equals to minimum of rm comma ist comma replacement. Basically just did this on curly braces because minimum allows you to have the minimum between two values, but if you just conceal it in a curly brace, it can take out the minimum of more than two values. Okay, just a small bit of hint. Okay, then we have the return statement, and then we would call from here. Okay, return rec of s1 dot size and s2 dot size itself. Let's just have it as n1 and n2. Int n1 is equals to s1 dot size, int n2 is equals to s2 dot size, and let's just have it as n1 and n2, and the code would look a lot cleaner. Okay. Am I clear? Am I s1 is equals to s. Okay, s1 is equals to x. I just did the opposite. Yep. Thank you. S2 is equals to done. This is done. Now we can do a something more. See, if n1 is equals to 0, that means we are returning n2. If n2 is equals to 0, we are returning n1. Okay, we would do it at the end. Okay, so now we need to memorize it because you can just see the recursion tree and we are doing the same thing again and again. You can draw the recursion thing on your part. So we need to do the same thing again and again. So to avoid doing the same thing again and again, we need to store it somewhere. So what is the maximum value of n1? The maximum value of n1 is the size of the first string. The maximum value of n2 is the size of the second string. Okay, so what we would do is we would make a DP array of size n1 cross n2. Okay, so we would make a vector of 2D vector of int, and name it as memo, and the value would be n1. Okay, n1 comma int vector of int, and this value would be n2 comma minus 1. So to tell me that this value has not been processed. Okay, so before processing we would just ask that the value is already processed or not. If memo of n1 comma n2 is already processed, then return memo of n1 comma n2. If we are processing these values, then before returning we need to save up these values is equal to answer. Okay, we would save this value as the answer part. Now we have n1 and n2. Okay, so now we need to pass this also. So we would just say vector vector of vectors, and then we have pass by reference as dp, and then we would pass here dp. Just copy this thing. Okay, somewhere we need to pass this value. Mhm. This one. So now we need to pass the value here also. Okay. Subcode DP. The DP has the access to everything. We are making here the value of DP. If it is, we are initializing everything with -1. If the value is -1, that means the value is not calculated. If the value is not -1, that means we have calculated some value. Okay, we have some value that is calculated. So ऐसे करते हैं, and let's just compile and then see how many errors are we getting. Oh, memo was not declared in the scope. यार डीपी लिखने की आदत हटानी पड़ेगी. Tomorrow we would just use DP. अरे let's just have this as memo. Okay, any more places where I need to do memo again? Yep, here. Now let us just compile and run. We won't use memo again. Uh, 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 uh. Okay, segmentation fault, timeout solution, dumped. Okay, just let me resolve this. If n1 is equals to 0, if n1 is less than equal to 0, if n2 is less than equal to 0, return n1, not equal to -1, n1 comma n2, then return. Okay, this one would be n plus 1 because we need to access the index n1 and n2, and then we would do n1 comma n2. I think this would be the error because we were accessing n1 but the n1 index was not present. And yep, now we have an output. So अब देखते हैं. Okay, okay, so we have used one operation, so we need to add this value as 1 because whatever we do that would add as one operation. That is why we are getting 0. So you can also learn this कि मेरे पास 0 here. That means the operations are not getting calculated. So I knew that here I am doing the mistake. So now I have the correct one. Okay, fair enough. I was able to do debug this real quick. So I would just share my solution. If you have any concern or queries, you can quickly ask me. But I can optimize this a little bit more. थोड़ा सा to make this code look more cleaner. Okay, I can make this code seem more clean. Let me just share the code first. In edit distance, memo needs to be changed also. Done. We don't have to, if we insert. Yep, it is also done. Pratik Gole, I just forgot it. Okay, okay. बिना देखे कर दिया. अच्छा बच्चा हूँ मैं. Okay, so now I can just make this a little bit go further. What I can do is, see, n1 0 है, we're returning n2. n1 n2 0 and we are returning n1, so always we are returning the greater value. So what we can do is we can simply say if n1 is equals to 0 or n2 is equals to 0, then we would just return the max of n1 comma n2. Well, let's say the max value n1 is equals to 0, then n1 is equals to 0 and n2 is equals to 5. So max of 0 comma 5 is equals to 5. So हम लोग सही रिटर्न कर रहे थे. Now I just compile and run and again see if I can optimize this further or not. देखते हैं. Okay, चलो इसको भी सबमिट करके देखते हैं. small optimization. I can optimize this further. Okay, I can use bitwise operation. Now I'm just making this level go a little bit level high for intermediates. I can just do something like this, and then I can again just hit the n1 and n2. So when the value of n1 is equals to 0, that would be 1. If the value is n1 value is equals to 5, then the not of 5 is not equal to 1. Okay, so if the value is 0, the not of 0 is equals to 1. Okay, so we are having a true value. So that is how we are able to. So this is a small bit of optimization. If you want to learn to just clear up the clutter. Okay, like you can use the feature of global space so that you don't need to pass s1 and s2 again. You can just initialize this memo also in the global space, but you don't need to take care of writing memo again and again, and the code will look much cleaner. Okay, and you can write type def, you can write a define for this also. I used to write this. Okay, so now am I clear with this thing or not? Instead of max, why can you discuss tabulation bottom up approach also? I don't think I should discuss, because this is meant for beginners, and at this point you shouldn't just code for tabulation. At this point you should just focus on recursion plus memoization, because recursion memoization gives you an idea how this is working. If you directly start up with tabulation, every other people would start, like every, if you see the people out there on the internet, they would start filling rows. बट हाउ इज दैट हैपनिंग, मुझे वो इंट्यूशन कैसे आएगा कि मुझे कैसे फिल करना है वो रोज. Now you have the intuition that if the value of I is equals to 0, the value of j is equals to the value of j. Okay, if the value of j is equals to 0, the value of I for j is equals to I is equals to 0, you have the done. So initializing the base condition is very easy in recursion and memoization, but you need to first process these two so that you learn the art of tabulation. Okay, still I would discuss the tabulation approach also. So see how we are doing that. ध्यान में रखना. Okay, so we are taking n1. So what we can do is we can, so if n1 is equals to 0, the value of n2 would be equal to n2. So I can just initialize a for loop and say for int I is equals to, so for int n1 is equals to, so I can say for all I, for I is equals to 0, the value of all j would be equal to that. Okay, so I can simply do that. Okay, then I can do this thing by using a for loop. Okay, I can just go back and hit that just by copying the conditions of this. Okay, now do I make sense? Give me a quick one in the chat and I would be more than happy to bid farewell and I can enjoy. अब 9:30 बजे क्या ही enjoy करना, मैं घूम के आ गया by the way, मैं शाम को गया था घूमने. Okay, I would just have my dinner and watch some series or something and then it's done. Okay, just give me a quick one. Thanks a lot, Pravan Kumar. Thanks a lot, Pratik Guha. So, Pratik Gole. Okay, sorry. Like, there is a person also as Pratik Guha. Okay, so that's it for today. Okay, the last question, hint for the third problem, palindrome partitioning problem. The last one is a palindrome partitioning problem. So, that is a range DP problem. So, if this is the first time you're doing DP, don't solve that problem. If you are an intermediate, the very first would be hint would be that we need to observe on the ranges. Okay, इस point of time पे palindrome पे इधर भी एक range जाएगा, उधर भी एक range जाएगा. Okay, कुछ value नहीं जाएंगे, range जाएगा proper. Okay, and it is a hard problem. To be honest, I was not able to solve that problem on my own initially. Okay, when I was learning. So that's it for today. If you're watching this stream in the recorded version, so just let me remove this. So if you're watching the stream in the recorded version, consider liking the video and commenting on the video, so as the reach of this video could be increased and this hard work could be justified. If not, if you are an introvert, you can at least comment and drop a one in the comment so that it would be recommended more. And this free habit thing, free initiative thing would be boosted up more. So that's it from my side. All the best to you guys. And tomorrow I would be the one who would be taking this trip. So so if you want, you can just attend it. That's it for today, everyone. Thank you.